Good evening, welcome back to a very windy East Midlands Airport. Apologies for the delay on tonight's stream. The YouTube website is not the most useful website at some points. Wouldn't let us connect this evening, but hopefully we've got a stable connection now. Just in time to catch the first arrival in on this evening's stream then. The Chewy arriving here from Kefalonia. Let's have a look in the distance. Not get too much of the tree in view this evening. We shall set up there. This one arriving in after a flight time of 3 hours and 12 minutes. 737 MAX registration on this one, Golf Tango Uniform Mike November. Thank you very much for joining us again this evening from East Midlands. Alan and Kieran, good evening to you. That wind is a lot more powerful this evening, more powerful than it was on Tuesday evening. But a bit less cloud with us for the time being. In the distance there, the Lauda A320. That one has just pushed back on stand, making its way off to Palma again this evening. Should see that one in a minute. Two Rhino services starting up as well. See one in the foreground there, and the Chewy behind that, both lined up on the apron, ready to start their taxi out this evening. We are on runway 27 ups again. Up on those three departing services. Just a short while. Chewy there then making its way onto one of the very last stands of the apron. On stand in the distance, and the Lauda at the very back. We shall have a pan across just as soon as that Chewy applies its parking brakes there. There you go, that one coming to a stop on its stand. And if we pan across very quickly, then Lauda A320 making its way out to the taxiway now. Rhino services departing this evening out to Lanzarote and Venice. Catch up on those in just a minute. We'll see the Lauda down towards the start of runway 27 first. Registration on the Lauda this evening then, 9 Hotel Lima Mike Tango A320 200 series. This one is 19 years old, delivered in January 2006. bit more light in if we can. A little bit brighter this evening. It's going to be a very difficult stream this evening. That wind is gusting quite intensely towards us now. We'll catch up with the Lauda in just a few minutes then. Next pushing off stand is the Rhino making its way out to Lanzarote this evening. Registration Echo India Hotel Tango. 737 MAX this one, 2 years of age, delivered in June 2023. And the service departing to Venice this evening. Registration on that one. Now, Hotel Victor, Uniform Victor. That one is 3 years old, delivered into service in July 2021, coming up to 4 years of age next month. On final load to land into East Midlands. The Aerologic 777 in from Delhi this evening. Registration on that inbound. Delta Alpha Alpha Lima Charlie. This one is passing through 1,800 feet now at 142 knots. Flight time this evening around 9 hours and 15 minutes by the time it touches down. This one is 15 years of age, delivered in December 2009. Thank you very much for joining us again from East Midlands Airport this evening. Second stream of the week for us, again within the grounds. And our usual spots up on the mound at East Midlands Aeropark. The Aeropark open today, of course, part of its summer schedule. Open again this Saturday and Sunday. If you want any details of the Aeropark, have a look in the stream description below. There's a link to their website there that'll give you information about how to find them, their opening times, admission prices, and all of the facilities and aircraft on static display as well. But for the time being, the Aerologic is our next arrival into East Midlands. A very bumpy one on the approach. That one is currently passing through 1,000 feet at 140 knots. The Lauda just holding short of runway 27. Sticking with the Rhino in front of us. Off to Lanzarote this evening. See both of those aircraft pushing on stand there, facing to the west. See both of those taxi out very shortly. Ash, good evening to you, and Emma as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Katie, good to see you this evening. Thank you for joining us as well in the chat. Again, let's spin around in the direction of runway 27. Anticipation for that 777 arriving in with us this evening. This one again arriving in from Delhi. Flight time 9 hours and 15 minutes. Aerologic 777 passing by us this evening. A quick view of that flight deck as it passes by us. Lauda lining up on the centre line of runway 27. Stick with the 777 as that one vacates. Try and get a little bit more light in if we can. There we go. Get a little bit brighter for us this evening. There we go. The rear of the aircraft just leaving the runway there. soon as that one is safely onto the taxiway, Lauda is cleared for takeoff. Well, there we go, that one cleared off. Even the birds struggling there in the distance with those wind gusts this evening. Hopefully that wind is going to die down at some point. For the time being, let's see how well that Lauda A320 fares as it starts its takeoff roll now. That one making its way down runway 27. Go straight off into that sunlight this evening. It's very bright right above us in the distance. A little bit of cloud directly overhead though. There we go, that one making that left hand turn down towards the south, passing through 2,000 feet now. Take some of that brightness away. Watch this one making its turn down towards the south. That one passing through 2,400 feet, making its way out of East Midlands airspace this evening, passing off to London Control. There we go, that is the Lauda A320, making its way to Palma this evening. Feet on that one now. So look towards the ground then, as that one makes its way away from us. An Aerologic 777. If we get some of the light back in, there we go. Making its way on to start the Rhino service on the taxiway then. That one off to Lanzarote this evening. Service to Venice just disappearing off the radar. I'm sure that one will ping up very soon though. With the first aircraft, second aircraft, sorry, allowed to be in the first. Second aircraft of this evening's stream, then making its way down to the start of runway 27. That Rhino 737 MAX off to Lanzarote this evening. We'll stick with the Aerologic just for the time being. Hopefully managed to keep everything stable this evening. Apologies for any shakiness on the camera. Those wind gusts are really blowing everything around this evening. Hopefully that should start to subside over the next hour or so. Good to have you with us this evening. Thank you very much for joining us again. Katie, thank you very much for the super chat this evening. And Hazel, good evening to you. And Copper Panda as well. Thank you very much for joining us in the chat. That Rhino 737 MAX turning onto runway 27 now. That one making its way onto the centre line. Nothing on the approach. In the immediate vicinity anyway, just turning onto the approach is the DHL service in from JFK this evening. That one at 2,400 feet, the Rhino making its way out first then. So look in the direction of runway 27, catch that one as it makes its way out this evening. Straight off into the sunlight. Let's see if we can take some of that away. There we go. A little closer on that one as it makes its way out. That one's still on the runway heading, just about to make that left-hand turn. There we go, just making that turn now. Passing through 1,900 feet at 160 knots. Rhino service to Lanzarote there. Talking to the tower now, passing through 2,500 feet, leaving East Midlands airspace. Passing off to London Control. That one well on its way. So, bit more activity on this evening's stream. It was a bit quiet on Tuesdays, so I think most of that traffic making its way in and out in the small hours of the afternoon on Tuesday. Hopefully it should be a little busy this evening. So there are some delays on the inbound, so we'll keep an eye on those as best we can. Well, there may be little bits of a lull in traffic. There we go, that service making its way out of East Midlands this evening then. And next inbound, the 767 in from JFK. Of course, that Rhino service there straight in front of us this evening. Nothing pinging up on the radar for that one. That one has disappeared for the time being. I'm sure it'll ping up in a minute though. Keep the camera on its current settings for the time being. Sunlight playing a bit of a trick on us this evening. And Richard, good evening to you. Hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. So look then in the distance, 767 making its way in from JFK this evening. Just on the edge of the trees there. That one passing by this evening. Flight time of 5 hours and 39 minutes. Registration on the inbound Golf Delta Hotel Lima Oscar. This one was in on Tuesday's stream. Saw that one loading up, making its return journey off to Leipzig. Unfortunately having to make a bit of a dash on Tuesday evening. So the rain just started to set in. A few flashes of light in the distance as well. So didn't fancy taking chances on Tuesday. But we still managed to see quite a lot of the action up close from here within the grounds of the Aeropark. So if you did miss that stream, have a look back on Tuesday. We saw the 747 depart out to Hangzhou. About 8 PM, around that time. That one making a very shallow departure from East Midlands. Managing to capture that one all the way from point of rotation through to it, banking down to the left, and then finally losing that one in the cloud. So a bit of a different story on Tuesday evening. Nice and bright though for the time being. Oops, there we go. A little bit more lighting on there, I think. There we go. So very much feels very much warmer anyway, although the temperature is a little lower than it was on Tuesday. Let's try and get the best setting for that. There we go. I think we'll stick with that one for the time being. Ground crew there just in front of that nose gear, waiting to get into action this evening. There we go, parking brakes applied on that one. So look at the next arrivals then, see whereabouts we are this evening. So I think it was going to be a little quiet at certain points, but the Rhino service in from Rome is making its way up. That one just south of London at the minute. That one going to pass straight over central London. Right over the top of Trafalgar Square as it makes its way into us this evening. Registration on the inbound from Rome this evening, 9 Hotel Quebec Charlie Sierra. Yeah, we'll try and get a bit more lighting. The clouds having a bit of an effect on the camera this evening. It's going very dark and then very bright, so we'll try and adjust it accordingly once they pass over. Be able to see the shadows from those clouds there, the grass verges just off the runway. But that flight in from Rome due to be with us in about 25 minutes. A little further south, making its way towards Cherbourg now. Rhino service in from Limoges. Registration on that one, Echo India Echo Kilo Foxtrot. That one is still a little way off, about 50 minutes or so before we see that one arrive into East Midlands this evening. So look, as we leave that service in from JFK, just for the time being then, that service in from Delhi this evening already starting to be worked on. That one arriving just a little while ago. You can see the crew there just starting to make preparations to take that first container off this evening. And then let's have a look a little further east. Looks like we have another Aerologic 777 getting its way over from Leipzig. Registration on that one, Delta Alpha Alpha Lima Hotel. That one is still on the ground in Leipzig. Let's have a look. Is indeed just being pushed off of stand. That should be making its way to the runway in the next few minutes. Flight time from Leipzig this evening is about an hour and 30 minutes. So that one should be with us at about 7:30. Let's have a look a little further to the west. They're making their way to the coast of Ireland now. 777 in from Cincinnati. That's the DHL 777 registration. Golf Delta Hotel Lima Yankee. And we will pan around onto the Apron this evening. You can go see a very different story, as you can tell. Facing this way, definitely a lot brighter. So let's take some of that brightness out. There we go. That should be a bit more aesthetically pleasing. But I'm expecting this one to be making its way out to Venice this evening. So look on the radar if we can. Now the Venice service may be the one behind. So look, there are a lot of delays this evening. Berlin service, registration Quebec Sierra Charlie. Nothing for that one just yet. No, I can see anyway. The registration one in the distance may just have to take slight light away so we can have a little bit of a look. There you go, Victor, Uniform Victor. That is the service to Venice this evening. Nothing I can see on our radar anyway, showing up for this one. If anybody does know, let us know in the chat. I think this one did disappear off the radar, although this may be one of the training aircraft that have been in and out of East Midlands today, which may be why it's not showing. Yeah, that is probably why that one isn't showing on the radar. This one has been conducting some circuit training today. Few touch and goes here at East Midlands, so it was probably mistakenly just on radar, picking up as the Venice service a little while ago, but that one is firmly on the ground there. So that next service will be the Max behind. There you go, that one is indeed pinging up now. Good evening to everybody in the chat joining us. Thank you very much for being with us at East Midlands again this evening. Good to have you with us. Everybody watching as well. Thank you very much for joining us again this evening. It's the second stream of the week from East Midlands. A little bit brighter this evening. Doesn't look like any rain on the horizon either. So hopefully staying dry for the foreseeable. So look, to the right of the Apron, then looks like the 757 making its way out from the maintenance area. And Jane, good evening to you, Dino as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes, Laura's just saying that East Midlands is predominantly our main airport. Yeah, twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. This will be the almost the end of 6 months of consecutive twice weekly streams from East Midlands as well. I think we've just ticked over 500,000 views on the channel as well, so thank you to everybody who's stuck around with us and everybody who's new to joining us as well, especially to our members. Thank you very much to everybody for your continued support. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers as well. So hopefully here the next week or so we'll manage to get over that 3,000 mark. Hopefully well on our way to many thousands more. So thank you very much for everybody who's made that possible over the past few months and weeks. As I say, it is extremely windy where we are this evening. We're doing our best to try and keep up with the 757. Keep everything stable as well. Can always be a little bit tricky. There you go, that one being manoeuvred over onto the apron this evening. Those engine covers firmly in place. We last saw this one arriving in from Reykjavik on Tuesday evening. Hopefully the 757 will be making its way down from Reykjavik again this evening. We'll have a look on the radar in just a few minutes when we check in the arrivals of the 777 and the 767 making their way over from the US. That one was just pinging up on the radar. Rhino service to Venice, pushing off Stanton in the distance. Stick with the 757 for just a couple more minutes. See where this one makes its way on to stand this evening. Oops, there we go. So try and keep up with this one as best I can. Wind is extremely fierce, pointing right in the direction of it. It's the wind blowing straight in the direction of runway 27 at the minute on the runway heading. As we saw on Tuesday's stream, it was a little bit bumpy for some of those aircraft making their way out. 747 though, making it look quite easy. Jet to 737, that one was delayed for a couple of hours, making couple of sharp manoeuvres as it departed from East Midlands. 757 just holding short of its stand this evening then. Shigil Pandora, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Oops. That one is on the move. Get our eye back on it. There we go. Just keeping an eye on the 737 there. While this one started to sneak forwards. Oh, making its way onto its stand for the evening though. See the size comparison there between it and the 777 next to it. Fortunate enough to have 3 on the ground at East Midlands on Tuesday. That's 3 of the 757s. Not very often you get to see that in the UK anymore. Hopefully the weather into next week sounds a little more stable. It's definitely going to get hotter over the weekend. Hopefully some of that wind dies off. Okay, a little bit easier. There you go, that one in place on stand this evening, and that's service to Venice. If we spin around best we can, there we go, that one making its way onto the taxiway now. Registration 9 Hotel Victor Uniform Victor 737 Max -8. This one delivered in July 2021. Making its way down to the start of runway 27 then this evening. We should see that one pass by us just a couple of minutes before the time being. Let's have a look in the distance then at the 777. Looks like the fueling truck is just underneath the wing of that one. See whereabouts that one is outbound to this evening. Quick look on the radar. So we've got the A300 on stand as well. That one is off to Milan this evening, departing about 7:10 is the estimated time on that one. Hotel Lima Victor. 76 is departing later. Doesn't look like anything on the radar for this one just yet, but we'll keep an eye out, see if that does ping up later. So look, just a couple of stands down there, and the 767 there being worked on, that upper cargo door. And the ground crew just inside there, and then on the stand next to it, the A300 off to Milan in about 50 minutes. That one is indeed pinging up now. Registration Echo India Lima Delta Delta. This one is Irish registered. I believe this one is operated by ASL. See if this one still has the white nose cone on it this evening. But this one, 20 years of age, delivered in September 2004. Not one of the oldest in the fleet by any means. The flight crew just making their way on board, up and down the steps anyway this evening. Keep an eye on that one. Hopefully that one will be ready to depart a little ahead of schedule. But for the time being, service off to Venice. That Rhino 737 in the distance, making its way down towards us now. we go, departing straight out into the sun this evening. That one passing through 1,200 feet now. That one will shortly start its left-hand turn. Feet, talking to the tower now, handing off to London control. On leaving East Midlands airspace, safely making its way down towards the south now. And when again departing to Venice this evening. Just a bit of cloud ahead of that one. See if this one skims past it or breaks through it. Yeah, maybe just a little bit high there. Going to skirt underneath it. Yeah, well away from the cloud. There we go then, the Rhino service off to Venice this evening. Let's have a look on the ground then. If we can make out that A300 there again. So all the systems offline at the minute. So that one has now disappeared off radar again. So likely will be making its way out at about 7 PM this evening. Just a few bits of ancillary equipment left around the stand this evening that need clearing out before that one starts to make its way onto the taxiway. So hopefully see that one in the next 30 minutes or so. On the approach now though, making its way in from Rome this evening, the Rhino 737-800. And that one passing through 2,900 feet. Registration on the inbound 9 Hotel Quebec Charlie Sierra. Flight time around 2 hours and 20 minutes this evening. This one has made its way up from the south, passing straight over central London, Milton Keynes, and making a bit of a right turn up towards Leicester before banking around the top of Leicester there, just north of Leicester, and I'm making a left-hand turn just east of Mount Sorrel up towards East Midlands. That one is just overhead East League at the minute, making its way down to us now at 142 knots. That Rhino training aircraft is still on the Apron, or designated training aircraft for today anyway. That one has been in and out of East Midlands quite a while this afternoon. East Midlands used as a regular base for Ryanair base training. So I think they have some facilities just behind the main car park down towards the UPS end of the airfield. They have some in-house simulators as well. So a very useful base for Rhino. No movement as of yet on the Apron. That one firmly in staying in position. Let's see if we can have a look. It's hard to tell from our perspective anyway, if the engines of that one are running. It's just the wind turning those turbines this evening. That one is pointing to the west in the direction of the wind, but it doesn't look indeed. Looking a bit closer, and the ground power unit is connected to the front there, so maybe just a lot of heat haze coming off of the runway this evening. See if we manage to catch that one out at some point this evening. If not, it's staying put for the time being, making its way down through 1,700 feet now. Service in from Rome, and just east of the Isle of Wight. Zooming a little bit further there. That service in from Limoges, the Rhino 737 registration Echo India Echo Kilo Foxtrot. That one is at 30,800 feet, making its way down through 30,000 feet now, starting its descent in towards East Midlands. 348 knots is the speed on that one, still with about 30 minutes to run. We're looking like that one will make its way up past the west of Heathrow and then make its way north from there up towards Milton Keynes and then Leicester. Very similar approach to that arriving service in from Rome this evening. The RVL Caravan in from the Isle of Man, that one departing around 15 minutes ago, making its way over Liverpool Bay, overhead Liverpool at the minute at 9,000 feet. 248 knots is the speed on that one. Registration Golf Romeo Victor Lima Yankee. So look at some of the cargo action this evening then. Service in from JFK and Delhi, both in the process of being worked on. See the crew there on the upper cargo deck. That's the Delhi service there, and the 767 there. A few people aboard that platform this evening. Oh, it's getting very chilly. Thanks again, it's good to see everybody in the chat this evening. Daz, thank you very much for the update on that Rhino. Hopefully there's the service making its way in now. There we go then, that Rhino service in from Rome this evening. Registration 9 Hotel Quebec Charlie Sierra. Flight time of 2 hours and 23 minutes. Vacating off onto Mike there, and then onto the taxiway. Still very bright, the sun reflecting off the bright white paint of that Rhino livery there. Faring a little better with the DHL liveries. Some of that orange absorbing the light. Stick with this one for the time being then. Let's watch this one onto stand. Looks like this one is without the retrofitted winglets. A lot of the oldest 737-800 airframes arriving into East Midlands now seem to have been retrofitted at some point with those winglets. Offers a little more fuel efficiency. Notice all the Maxes are produced with those winglets now in order to reduce the drag on those flight surfaces, make them a bit more aerodynamic. See the older airframe there, the training aircraft, or has been the training aircraft for today, with those retrofitter winglets on there. See where this one is off to then. Looks like it's making its way all the way to the front of the apron this evening. It is indeed right on the front stand, so just a short walk across to passport control for all those passengers this evening. See where this one is departing out to. Looks like the training aircraft we saw just a few minutes ago is back off up to Manchester this evening. Just a short hop for that one. Flight time around 20 minutes or so by the time it touches down in Manchester. That one's scheduled to depart East Midlands at 7:45 this evening, so in about an hour and 10 minutes that one should be on its way again. As if we got the registration right, so look, 2 services scheduled out. Echo Foxtrot X-Ray. Yeah, that is off to Manchester. Service before registration on that one. Echo Kilo Foxtrot is off to Barcelona this evening. It looks like the aircraft inbound just on the front stand there. That one is off to Berlin. Short delay on that service this evening. Estimated departure time of 6:55. So in about 20 minutes time. However, with that one only just landing in, be a very tight turnaround indeed for that one this evening. So that one likely to depart just after 7 p.m. So look at some of the arrivals into East Midlands then. About an hour's delay on a majority of the services for the time being anyway. So those rear stairs just being attached to that aircraft there, the ground crew busy working away. See if we can drop a bit of that light away for you, take a bit of the reflection off the aircraft skin, hopefully a little bit better. So look a little further out there, and the Rhino service in from Limoges is indeed making its way just west of Heathrow Airport now. That one should be with us in about 25 minutes, passing through 29,700 feet now. 388 knots is the speed on that one. The RVL service in from the Isle of Man, making its way down towards Ellesmere Port now. 9,000 feet is still the altitude on that one. 249 knots is its speed. The Aerologic 777 in from Leipzig. Still in German airspace at the minute. That one making its way over towards the Netherlands though. Probably about 20 minutes until that one leaves the coast of the Netherlands. 20 to 25 minutes probably. Looks like that one is going to route just north of Amsterdam. Make its way over towards East Midlands. 36,000 feet is the altitude on that one. 462 knots is the speed. That wind finally dying down just a little bit. So let's have a look in a direction. That service in from Kennedy this evening. There we go. Let's get a little bit more light in. Crew busy working away there, getting that one offloaded. I think the weather is playing a little bit of a havoc with the arrivals, especially from the east and west this evening. That's 767 in from Philadelphia. The EPS 767 November 355 Uniform Papa. There's a registration on that one. That one is at 39,000 feet, cruising at 567 knots. That one is about an hour away from us. Just a few minutes ahead is a 777 in from Cincinnati. That's the DHL 777 at 35,000 feet. That one cruising a little bit faster, 592 knots is the speed on that one. Registration Golf Delta Hotel Lima Yankee. And that one about an hour out now. A little bit further north up towards Iceland, leaving Iceland is the DHL 757, registration Golf Bravo Mike Romeo Delta 757 200 series. 37,000 feet is the altitude on that one, cruising at 474 knots. That one is about an hour and 45 minutes away from us this evening. Scheduled arrival into East Midlands just before 8:30. So we'll likely see that one towards the end of this evening's stream. So looks like the next arrival will either be the Rhino service in from Limoges or the RVL caravan in from the Isle of Man this evening. Quick pan down the rest of the airfield on that 777 in from Delhi. We'll see how the stands fare a little bit later. Just a couple of stands spare at the minute. I think we've got, or maybe an extra one at the end. 1, 2, 3 stands over there, and then just one next to the 767. There's about 4 available stands close to the DHL facility this evening. The Aerologic 777s sometimes having to wait for space though. See if this one does indeed leave on time this evening. That one is due to depart back out to Leipzig in about an hour's time. So hopefully it will be one out and one back in. So just a couple of weeks ago it was a bit congested over there. 777 inbound from Leipzig was waiting on the Apron for about 30 minutes, waiting for an available stand. Crew weren't too happy about that. But about 20 minutes out now is that Rhino service in from Limoges this evening. That one making its way just past Luton now, heading up towards Milton Keynes, and then from there towards Northampton, and of course Leicester, and on into East Midlands. Darlington Park very busy this evening. Sounds like the motorbikes are out. Wendy, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us at East Midlands this evening. Good to have you in the chat. And Joby Marshy, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Good to see you again. Watching in Gran Canaria this evening. Hope you're having a very good time. The weather's a little less windy than it is here at the minute. A little bit warmer as well. It's getting a bit cold in that wind, even though we're about 20 degrees. So look a little further down the apron then this evening. And we're good to have you in the chat anyway. I hope you're enjoying your holiday. Thank you very much for joining us again. 767 in front of us, then off to Leipzig. That one departing a little later this evening, about 9:25, so a little after where we'll be in terms of streaming from East Midlands. But we should hopefully get the 767 out to Cincinnati. Excuse me. Out to Cincinnati. Registration on the outbound. Not sure if that is the one on the end stand there. Is indeed that one off to Cincinnati this evening. Golf Delta Hotel Lima Mike. That one with an estimated departure time 10 to 9. Fingers crossed we get to see that one depart this evening. So a little unfortunate on Tuesday evening. Going to the weather, not turning out very nice. Hopefully a different story this evening. Well, the sky's a little bit clearer as well, especially towards the south. We'll see if we can get any of those overheads as they make their way up past us. A lot of traffic making its way up from Heathrow this evening. Just disappearing behind the cloud behind us. Let's have a look then. Progress of the A300 off to Milan. Nothing on that one just yet. Now, but that one with an estimated departure time of about 7:10 this evening. So within the next 25 minutes or so. That one should be making its way out, 20 to 25 minutes, hopefully. Service here from Limoges, just passing north of Milton Keynes now. See some quite peculiar bits of cargo making their way off and on these aircraft over the past few weeks. I think last Thursday before actually, a couple of cars making their way off the back of these 777s. I think the Thursday before it was Ferrari making its way off. And then a vehicle making its way on last Thursday evening's stream as well, I think. That was heading back off to Leipzig. Not sure what model it was. Definitely something different to see rather than the usual types of cargo we see off and on those aircraft. Right then, let's see if we can have a look. So we'll keep an eye out for any interesting aircraft making their way overhead this evening. A little bit better towards the south than it is the north at the minute. Well, that cloud is clearing pretty fast. So any traffic inbound to Manchester, as long as we can catch it early enough, we should be able to see it in. Thank you for being with us this evening again from East Midlands. The Chewy off to Heraklion. If we have a quick pan around, we have to just take a little bit of light off. There we go, leaves a little bit of that light there. Chewy service departing off to Heraklion this evening. Registration Golf Tango Uniform Mike November. This one is 737 MAX-8. Delivered in April 2022. This one is 3 years of age. This one just running a little behind schedule. Estimated departure time this evening 20 to 7. It's about 10 minutes behind at the minute. Not too bad considering the delay, and the majority of the inbounds this evening is about an hour. So we will stick with that one for the time being. The Rhino service from Limoges making its way up towards the south of Leicester now. That one passing through 10,400 feet. 276 knots is the speed on that one. The RVL in from the Isle of Man north of Derby now, then making its way down towards Belper. That one at 7,600 feet, 247 knots is the speed on that one. Registration again, Golf Romeo Victor Lima Yankee. Trying at the bouncing us sort out if we can. At some points anyway. A little bit difficult in the wind, especially when it's this strong. It'll be particularly bad this week. To everybody joining us in the chat as well. War Craziness, thank you very much for joining us. Oh, it definitely is. Pick it up now. Into collision light pinging away on top of the Chewy, then you'll just be able to see that. Blended into the background of the departure hall there. That one is off out on its way in just a few minutes. Hopefully we'll see that one out before the arriving service from Limoges. And it can be a little bit of a wait before those aircraft make their way off of the apron. The RVL making its way over Ilkeston now, making its way down towards the M1. Looks like that one is going to pass overhead Stapleford, Long Eaton, and then down in towards East Midlands. That one very much following the track of the M1 at the minute. Likely making a little bit of an early approach just to intercept that approaching service in from Limoges this evening. That one is still east of Leicester at the minute, with about 7 minutes left to run. Some very noisy crows around. Seem to be very happy with each other at a minute. Where are they? all the noise in front of us this evening. A little bit of a fight with each other. Anyway, back onto the bigger metal birds in front of us. The Chewy off to Heraklion, then making its way off of the Apron this evening. That one beginning its taxi out towards the taxiway, ironically. And then down to the start of runway 27. The RVL Caravan here from the Isle of Man. Looks like it's going to beat the Rhino. Shall track the Chewy out though. That one making its way behind the Rhino. 737 there. That one off back up to Manchester in a little less than an hour, hopefully. Should be about 7:45 by the time that one is taking off. We were hoping for the Atlas 747 to make an appearance just after 9 PM this evening, but it looks like that one is going to be delayed. Last time we looked, it was until about 10:30. So unfortunately, just a little way off of where we'll be in terms of streaming this evening. But if you want to see any of the 747s departing East Midlands, the Atlas Airs included, as well as all of the One Air 747s, have a look back through our previous streams. Tuesday's stream, we managed to see the One Air 747 depart out just before 8 PM, I think. That one making its way off to Hangzhou. There we go, losing the Chewy just behind the trees. Looks like the RVL is making its way down a little further than East Midlands at the minute. That one may well be giving way to the Rhino 737 instead. The Rhino passing through 3,250 feet. Let's get a view on something else for the time being. Looks like that next service is already boarding. Just see the passengers making their way up the rear stair there. Right, an aircraft in front of us off to Berlin this evening. That one arriving in just a short while ago. The Chewy off to Heraklion, that one is holding short of runway 27. One of the early holding points. Not making use of all of the runway this evening. And looks like that one is going to make its way up before that arriving service in from Limoges. That one is on final approach now. Overhead East Leak, passing through 2,258 feet at 158 knots. By the Chewy on the centre line, starting its takeoff roll towards us now. That one off to Heraklion this evening. Let's pan around in the direction of runway 27 then, in anticipation for that aircraft. Rotating, this one may rotate a little early. Keep an eye on it though. There we go, can you hear that one approaching in the distance? rotating very late down runway 27. Still making quite a decent departure. That one at 1,350 feet now. 163 knots is the speed, already making that left-hand turn down towards the south. About 1,000 feet to go before that one passes off to London Control and leaves East Midlands airspace. That one about 20 minutes behind schedule this evening. I'm sure everybody's finally relieved to get away. Looking a lot clearer towards the south. Haze in the distance, nothing as it was on Tuesday evening. It was very grey indeed. There we go, making its way out of East Midlands airspace and down towards the south. 2,800 feet now. Next aircraft in is that Rhino service in from Limoges. This one with a flight time of 1 hour and 19 minutes. Registration on this one, Echo India, Echo Kilo Foxtrot. Not too long before we see this one departing back out of East Midlands this evening. Should be departing out to Barcelona at about 7:30. So hopefully back on its way out in the next 35 to 40 minutes with a bit of luck. Have a look over on the DHL ramp in just a minute. See the progress on that A300 making its way out to Milan this evening. From this viewpoint, it looks like that forward stair is just being moved out of place. Just leave the Rhino service there and have a quick pan around on the A300. Little too far. There we go. Just a sea of orange in front of us. Look the same from here. There we go. That A300. Looks like the tug is in place on that one. Nothing picking up on the radar. Looks like those systems not online just yet, although it looks like the APU is started. See a big plume of heat haze escaping the back of that APU exhaust there. Keep an eye out for that RVL caravan making its way in as well. That one tends to disappear off radar at a certain altitude, but that one should be making its way in any time soon, hopefully making its way down towards the DHL Apron this evening. killers are like pinging away on top of that one, so should be on the move very soon. Change glasses, get a bit of polarisation on, I think. Pan up then, might just be able to make out. Sorry, 787. If we can find it again, there we go. Maximum of our pan capacity there, but off up into Manchester this evening. A300 making its way off of the stand now then. Extremely bright now. The sun just breaking through the last of that cloud as it passes by us. It looks like the nose cone of that A300 is being put back in a DHL colour now. Photos of this one floating around, with it with a white nose cone. We'll try and keep track of this one as it makes its way out toward the start of runway 27 this evening. Try and spin round as we wait for that one. The back of the Aeropark. If we can see it. There we go. Virgin Atlantic just passing north behind us. Aircraft we have regularly seen on the evening streams, owing to the amount of bad weather that's been around the past few weeks. So good to see a bit of a variety overhead. Back onto the aircraft in question then. That A300, the token removed from the front of the aircraft now. Should be making its way out under its own power in just a few minutes' time. Rhino service to Berlin. Making its way out this evening. Now that one is on the taxiway. registration on the outbound service to Berlin this evening. 9 Hotel Quebec, Charlie Sierra. Stick with the A300 though, just for a minute or so, before panning around to catch the departure of that service to Berlin this evening. That one is just approaching threshold for runway 27. Thank you again for joining us from East Midlands this evening. If you're new to joining us, welcome to Live Flight Action. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to keep up with all our latest action down here at the airport. Rhino service making its way out then this evening. We shall catch it with the A300 just a few minutes. Go safely making its way out of East Midlands this evening. Rhino service off to Berlin. Oops. DHL A300 making its way down towards the starter runway 27. Too sure if we'll be able to catch this one or not. Let's just have a quick pan around right above us this evening. Should be coming into frame. There we go. Swiss A340 there, making its way over to Boston this evening. Very common sight anymore. But one that we're happy to see overhead of us this evening. There we go, making its way through the cloud. Another decent catch. Let's get panned around back in the direction of runway 27 then, as we wait for that A300 to make its way out to Milan this evening. See the UPS stands in the distance there, all clear at the minute. Just about to make its way onto runway 27, and while we wait for that, sneaking in just as that Rhino service was making its way out, the RVL in from the Isle of Man. See all the cargo being manually removed from the aircraft this evening. Surprising just how much that one does indeed hold. And the 767 off to Cincinnati, the upper cargo door open on that one, starting to get to work. There you go, the lower cargo door just being opened up there. A300 on runway 27, lining up on the centre line now. Get the tripod in a bit of a better position. Let's pan around and catch the departure of that A300 this evening. Up early indeed, rotating right behind the trees there. Now right out of the reach of a maximum pan. Must have nothing on board at all. It's up like a rocket, that one. That one already at 4,000 feet. (1,700 feet a minute that one is climbing at. There we go, off out of East Midlands this evening. Very surprisingly, rotating quite early. Off through the bit of cloud in the distance there. Continuing to make that left-hand turn down towards the south. DHL A300 departing out of East Midlands this evening. Apologies if we didn't see that one any sooner. It was right above us before we knew it. 767 then, with all of the lower cargo doors and the upper cargo door there open this evening. That one in the process of being loaded up, ready to make its outbound journey to Cincinnati this evening. And those next inbounds, the UPS service in from Philadelphia, passing down through 21,000 feet now. That one overhead Wrexham at the minute, maybe just a little bit north of Wrexham, making its way down towards Stoke-on-Trent. 504 knots is the speed on that one. Registration November 355 Uniform Papa. Flight time this evening should be around 6 hours by the time it reaches us, and just a few minutes behind that, Cincinnati DHL 777 in from Cincinnati. That one passing down through 22,300 feet now. Registration Golf Delta Hotel Lima Yankee. 452 knots is the speed on that one. So looks like we'll likely see the UPS 767 in first, although approaching from the northeast, the Aerologic 777. That one taking a bit of an unusual route into East Midlands this evening. Not one we normally see. That one is over Mablethorpe at the minute. 33,000 feet is the altitude on that one. It's passing down through 32,900 feet now. 408 knots is the speed. Registration Delta Alpha Alpha Lima Hotel. And that one should be with us in about 30 minutes. Now the routing for that one may continue just a little further over towards Sheffield and making its way down south from there. Keep an eye on that one though. It's not a very common routing. It looks like that one has made a beeline straight from Leipzig, tracked pretty much straight all the way across through Germany, the Netherlands, and over towards England this evening. The UPS 767 with about 19 minutes left to run. 767 just gleaming in front of us there. The sunlight finally making its way through. All of that cloud has now burnt off in the immediate vicinity anyway. Stick on the 767 just for a couple of minutes. And good evening to everybody in the chat. Good to see you all. Thank you very much for joining us this evening and for supporting the channel as well. So it looks like the UPS 767 is passing just a little north of Stoke-on-Trent. Making its way down through 15,000 feet now. Finally that wind dying down, making it a little more pleasant. Now, last Tuesday's stream, we didn't manage to catch the A350 making its way into Manchester. Hoping we might be able to catch it this evening. That is just north of Leicester at the minute. Heading straight for us. I think if we pan around, glasses back on. There we go. A380 off into Manchester this evening. All four of those engines gleaming away there as they make their way past us here at East Midlands. Yeah, very nice sight indeed. Try and track this one for as long as we can. It's going to pass straight above us this evening. There we go, just losing sight of that one unfortunately. See if we can try and pick it back up. Yeah, looks like we're going to reach the maximum pan there. There we go, the A380 making its way into Manchester. So we'll have all the close-ups of Manchester traffic. Definitely get all the overheads passing straight by us here at East Midlands. That makes up for a bit of a lack of traffic for the time being. So the sun directly at us this evening though, so probability of seeing that one as it made its way a little further north of us wasn't very high anyway. But there we go, the A380 making its way into Manchester. For anybody wanting the registration on that one, Alpha 6 Echo Uniform Zulu. That one passing through 16,500 feet, 400 knots is the speed of that aircraft as it made its way past us this evening. Just passing underneath the A380, the UPS service in from Philadelphia. That one is about 10 minutes out now. It does indeed look like that 777 in from Leipzig is making its way over to Sheffield at the minute. That one tracking back down course of the M1. There we go, so if you want any of those views like we've had this evening, full of overhead traffic making its way from the south over towards the US and indeed up towards Manchester. I'm going to have a look at the Aeropark, some great unobstructed viewing spots, especially on evenings like this when the sun is just a little lower in the sky. Some of those great shots as the aircraft are passing overhead, especially over the A380 there. You can see all four of the engine cowlings gleaming away there as they made their way towards the setting sun off up into Manchester this evening. Speaking of Manchester, it looks like that Rhino aircraft has been in and out of East Midlands for the majority of this afternoon, is finally starting up. Let's have a quick pan around and have a look at that one in the distance. Change my glasses back in a minute because I can't see anything at all. There we go, back with it now. Pushing off of the apron there then. Right now, 737-800. That one has been conducting some base training here at East Midlands this afternoon. That one repositioning back up to Manchester this evening. Registration Echo India Echo Foxtrot X-Ray, 15 years of age on that one, October 2009 that one entered into service. And UPS 767 making its way down towards the city centre of Nottingham now. That one passing through 6,000 feet. Making its way down through 240 knots. And that second Rhino service off to Barcelona this evening, just a little behind. There we go, just pushing off stand as well. Both aircraft making their way out now then. So it looks like the training aircraft there is departing again this evening from Manchester. That one with a scheduled departure time of 6:35. So a little later from where it should be, but that one expected to be out to Alicante, I think, at some point. There we go, both aircraft pushed into position. Ready to commence their startup procedures and start taxiing toward the beginning of runway 27 this evening. Quick drink, I think. It's a bit better. So, looks like the weather is finally starting to behave itself. Sunlight just pinging off the top of the Vulcan this evening. See the wing there just gleaming away, bouncing off the top of the Nimrod as well. EPS 767 making a right hand turn onto the final approach for runway 27 this evening. Altitude passing through 3,250 feet at 182 knots. Flight time this evening expected by the time it touches down it'll be about 5 hours and 51 minutes. Registration again on the inbound 767 from Philadelphia, November 355, Uniform Papa. 777 making its way in from Cincinnati, making its way towards centre of Nottingham as well. Now that one a little higher, 5,800 feet, so that one is passing down through 5,700 feet now. Speed is 224 knots. First aircraft taxiing off the apron though is that repositioning flight back up to Manchester. Now this one may well indeed be up like a rocket. No one on board that one this evening, so it should be very rapid, steep takeoff. 767 is almost up on us. Just catching up with the chat as well. Thank you to everybody in the chat this evening and joining us live as well from here at East Midlands. Richard, hopefully you got a few photos of that A380. perfect evening for catching most of those overheads, especially with the sun setting as well. There we go, one Rhino out and the other one following directly behind. That is the service off to Barcelona this evening. Registration Echo India Echo Kilo Foxtrot. (15 years of age) on airframe, delivered in January 2010. Just losing that one then behind the tree line there. We'll stay in this direction for the arrival of 767, just passing overhead Kegworth now, 725 feet. If you are joining us for the first time from East Midlands this evening, very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're out here every Tuesday and Thursday evening. Streaming all of the action from the airport directly from the grounds of East Midlands Aeropark. (767) still in the process of being worked on then. From one 767 to another 767. The UPS service in from Philadelphia, touching down onto runway 27. That one should be with us in just a few seconds. Can you hear those reverse thrusters in the distance there? There we go, making an appearance. Flight time this evening, 5 hours 53 minutes. This one will vacate quite early, around about now. Make that initial left-hand turn and then make another left-hand turn as it makes its way back down towards the start of runway 27. It's the UPS facilities at the opposite end of the airfield. A lot of heat coming out the back of those engines this evening. And 737 repositioning back up to Manchester on the centre line of runway 27, waiting takeoff clearance. There we go. Looks like that one is on its takeoff roll. We shall leave the UPS 767 then for the time being. I anticipate quite an early rotation for this one. There we go, I think we'll set ourselves a little bit higher. Goes back off up to Manchester this evening, departing straight overhead us this evening. Now, contrary to the other departing aircraft, this one should make a right-hand turn. There we go. course tracking back up to Manchester this evening. That one passing through 3,600 feet now then. Making its way straight off into the sun this evening. Pan back this way before I blind myself looking too long in the distance. Let's set up in this direction then. 777 in from Cincinnati, just over the runway threshold. And an Aerologic 777 in from Leipzig, making its way down from Sheffield this evening. That one making its way down over the Peak District, over, excuse me, out over Sheffield, down through Hathersage, Chesterfield, and then down in towards East Midlands. 777 though, just touching down those reverse thrusters, can just about hear those in the distance. 767 pulling in on to stand there, a little bit more light if we can, and there we go. See how far this one makes its way down past us this evening. Still a lot of speed on this one. Those reverse thrusters still deployed. The 777 landing in from Cincinnati. Flight time 6 hours and 25 minutes. Registration on that one again. Golf Delta Hotel Lima Yankee. Rhino service to Barcelona, lining up on runway 27. And that 777 in from Leipzig. Not too far away now. Catch the last of that 777 making its way off on the taxiway there. Let's pan around then and catch the Rhino service off to Barcelona this evening. Let's see how early this one rotates. Hopefully not as early as its counterpart. Definitely dropping a little chillier now. And the wind died down just a little bit. It's coming back into force. Goes the Rhino off to Barcelona this evening. Let's get a close-up look of that one. Passing through 1,600 feet now at 152 knots, making that initial left-hand turn down towards the south. That one with just a little more to climb before it passes out of East Midlands airspace. Hands off to London control. Stick with this one for just a little longer. The 777 is just a way off. Passing through 1,600 feet now at 133 knots. Making its way just over East Leek. like its counterpart, making its way in from Delhi. We say goodbye to that Barcelona service. There we go. 777 in from Delhi this evening. That one all closed up now, hopefully making its way out of East Midlands. See that vertical stabiliser coming online there. So looks like all those hydraulic systems are active, and it looks like the tug is in place. So it should hopefully be a case of one out and one in. 777 pulling onto stand then on the end there. There's the service in from Cincinnati this evening. Oh, definitely turning chilly now. There we go then, 777 making its way out to Leipzig this evening, pushing off stand. Good evening, Siri. Just catching it with a chat there. Richard hopefully found that Instagram page. Oh, everything should be with the same handle at Lifeline Action. Let's pan around 777 and landing in onto 27. Apologies, it's just a little unstable there as that wind gusts towards us now. There we go, making its way off of runway 27 then. 777 in from Leipzig this evening. And then a little further down, as we try and get everything tightened back up. There we go, making it a little bit more stable. 777 making its way back out to Leipzig this evening. Ooh, definitely challenging when it gets a little bit windy. Let's pan around then and catch the inbound from Leipzig. There we go, hopefully that's a little more stable. good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Jacob Battle, good evening to you. Yeah, great vantage point from here in the Aeropark. It's elevated just slightly higher than the runway. Great vantage point. So the Aerologic 777 holding at the rear of the Apron this evening then. It's waiting for its counterpart to make its way off and onto the taxiway. So it tends to happen. It should be a case of just a couple of minutes, and then they should be making their way onto the stand. From one 777 to another. There we go. The inbound is indeed making its way up towards the stand now, as this one vacates onto the taxiway. Definitely colder than it has been the past couple of weeks. And that weather forecast is lying to us. The wind's definitely not 3.5 knots. Not where I am anyway. There we go then, hopefully we will get both of these 777s crossing paths. Go. Not every stream we managed to catch these two pass each other. It seems the weather and that delay is in our favour this evening. Continuing straight down the taxiway this evening then, the Aerologic 777 making its way out to Leipzig, this one arriving into East Midlands at the very start of the stream, arriving in from Delhi. And as that one makes its way down to the start of runway 27, let's have a pan around as its counterpart pulls in onto stand this evening. It's very much a case of one out and one straight back in its place. So great to see everybody this evening. Thank you very much for joining us again from East Midlands. Second stream of the week. Weather's a little bit fairer this evening. Well, there is a lot of cloud heading this way from the west. 777 in the process of shutting those engines down now. See the crew underneath that aircraft there. Let's have a look for the next inbound. That Rhino service back up to Manchester on final now for Manchester. That one just heading over Stockport. Flight time 17 minutes by the time it touches down up there. And looks like 3 aircraft inbound from the north. They're likely to be the last inbounds on this evening's stream. The West Atlantic making its way down from Aberdeen at 25,000 feet. That one at 425 knots. Just passing over the Northumberland coast, west of Sea Houses, making its way down to Newcastle upon Tyne. The DHL 757 in from Reykjavik this evening. That one is at 37,000 feet. 30 minutes left on that one. 487 knots is the speed. Registration Golf Bravo Mike Romeo Delta, and on that West Atlantic registration of the 737-400 Golf Juliet Mike Charlie Sierra. The Maersk 767 making its way over from Belfast. That one is going to route past the very most southern tip of the Isle of Man, making its way over towards Liverpool, currently at 19,500 feet, 422 knots. That one is still in its climb out. Vertical speed on that one at 2,400 feet per minute. That one should be with us in about 30 minutes. The ground crew there waiting for the door of that 777 to open up. I think we may miss that one opening up. There we go. Flight crew there, peering out from inside, and as that one opens up, the next one is just about to make its way out. So look in the direction of 27 then. Very, very shiny aircraft there this evening, making its way out of East Midlands. Sunlight almost wrapping its way around the circumference of that fuselage there. Bit of grey cloud in front of it, but that one making its left-hand turn down towards the south now, passing through 1,900 feet. That one with a vertical speed about 2,100 feet per minute. Flight time over to Leipzig this evening, probably about 90 minutes, an hour and a half. There we go. From seeing that one push off stand to departing right in front of us here at East Midlands this evening. 3,600 feet on that one, handing off to London Control and making its way out of East Midlands airspace now. Not the loudest of departures. So given the size of the 777, you expect them to be screaming out in front of you, but they relatively silent in the broadest of terms. So the 747 we saw departing on Tuesday's stream, Golf Uniform Echo November Tango. That one was off to Hangzhou. All four of those engines screaming out of East Midlands. Really feel those engines, well, the sound for those engines thumping right through your chest as that aircraft makes its way past. 777 there, turning south, making its way past the south of East Midlands this evening. That one just turning over Ashby de la Zouche, climbing up past 6,200 feet now. Vertical speed on that one, 3,400 feet per minute. So that one is reducing that climb rate. It's about 3,800 over its turn over Ashby. There we go, pretty much in front of us now. Departing right across the south of the airfield. Again, that one continuing its climb out, 3,800 feet per minute. That one making its way through 10,000 feet now. Let that one continue its journey. The 777 there, off to Leipzig this evening. From one Aerologic 777 back to the other. There we go, that one already in the process of being offloaded. So no more passenger aircraft over on the Apron this evening. They've all departed now. Just the cargoes in front of us. So we got 3 777s, 3 767s, and the 757 there. That one soon to be joined by its counterpart, making its way down from Reykjavik this evening. About 25 minutes until we see that one in. Let's have a look on the end stand then. 767 making its way off to Cincinnati this evening. So we'll try and stick around for this one. It's a bit hit and miss with the later departures over to the US. Sometimes can be on schedule, but more often than not they are late departing. You can see them busy loading that one on this evening. Bit of a push and a shove to get on. So about 25 minutes until we see that service in from Reykjavik, just a little further north. West Atlantic 737-400 at 25,000 feet. That one is about 27 minutes away from us this evening. And from the west, the Maersk 767 in from Belfast at 27,000 feet. That one making its way down towards Liverpool now, looking like it may just skirt over the over North Wales, making its way down through to Chester on towards Stoke-on-Trent, Derby and Nottingham before making that right hand turn onto the final approach for runway 27 this evening. Registration on the inbound from Belfast, Oscar Yankee Sierra Romeo. Romeo Golf. There we go, busy loading up that 767 for its outbound this evening then. Aircraft being worked on then, the 777 at the very end of the DHL Apron. Let's have a quick spin around and have a look at that one. You'll be able to see the church just in the very background of that. Yeah, there's a 76 and there's a 777. And we look inside underneath the engine cowling this evening. It's common practice, commonplace for all the oil reservoirs to be routinely checked on these flights. Of course, those engines burning through quite a lot of oil. So I'm not sure how regularly that oil is topped up. But, very often, I would expect. There we go, busy working away on the engine and getting that cargo off this evening as well. Oh, it is turning very chilly indeed now. So like that cloud, we're fortunate to have pushed away from us. Second band seems to be approaching us now. Sun just setting behind the back of the Aeropark. And Richard, yeah, we should be out next Tuesday as well. I think Laura just getting back to you there. We fully intend to be out next Tuesday, regular time of 5:30. Should hopefully see you then. Moving away from the engine now then. Aerologic. Quick peek. Side that one. Dark in there, so not a lot we can see unfortunately. Very fortunate though on a few of the streams earlier in the year, especially when the aircraft are on stand around this angle. It's a little darker. You tend to see straight through the flight deck window. They'll just be able to make out the very most forward flight deck window there on that 767, just peering through that forward door. So it does drop a little darker though. Flight deck is illuminated, so it makes for very good viewing indeed. 777 on stand next to it then. That one all systems offline at the minute it looks like. Lights on that one though. Presuming just for awareness around the aircraft more than anything. Registration on that one, Golf Delta Hotel Lima Victor. Now, when we looked earlier, that one wasn't pinging up. Now it is. That one is off to Cincinnati as well this evening. So the 777 there off to Cincinnati at about 10 to 10. An hour after its counterpart in front of us, 767, will depart from East Midlands. That one is due out in around 30 to 40 minutes time. It looks like they've finished loading on the lower decks now. The most forward anyway. That cargo door is now closed, just those last smaller containers making their way on board. Sun just coming back through the cloud. Like maybe the last we'll see of that. Very much gleaming off the fuselage of the 767 this evening. See the flight crew there on board. That flight deck window, I think it's open there, a bit of fresh air in before they make their way out of East Midlands this evening. And let's have a look at the next arrivals. 757 then making its way over Manchester now. That one just making its way past Manchester Airport. Passing it through 17,800 feet at 402 knots. That one should be with us in about 15 minutes time. We'll try and get something in place to hopefully reduce some of the bouncing around that the wind causes on these India streams. Hopefully the image quality is still coming across very well this evening. It's just a shame that the wind is causing a bit of bounciness. The Maersk 767 in from Belfast. That one is around 15 minutes away from us as well this evening. 20,500 feet. That one is passing through now, 437 knots. The West Atlantic 737-400 is just about to make its way overhead the city centre of Manchester. That one still at 24,300 feet. Starting its descent in towards us now. 460 knots is the speed on that one. So there will likely be the last 3 aircraft inbound on these on this evening's stream. We'll keep an eye on that 767. So I'll try and keep with our usual streaming times. If it looks like it's making its way out, we'll endeavour to try and catch that one for you this evening. enjoyed this evening so far from East Midlands. So it was about this time last week that we, sorry, this time on Tuesday, we had to make a bit of a hasty exit. With the rain starting to approach the airfield, see how the lightning in the distance as well. Probably wasn't worth the risk of being out any longer. So, don't fancy taking our chances with that. We're still managing to catch the 747 as it climbed out in front of us. So just north of Ashbourne now then, passing through 9,900 feet. That 757 making its way in towards East Midlands. That one should be with us in about 10 minutes time, if not a little sooner. Trev and Dino, good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. In the process of being refueled then. That one off out to Leipzig this evening in about an hour's time. Estimated departure time for that one is about 25 past 9 this evening. Cargo still continuing to be loaded. Unlock service to Cincinnati. Doesn't look like much more to be loaded on board that one this evening. So hopefully that one keeps on schedule. Stick with that one just for the time being. So look, whereabouts that 757 is then making its way down towards Nottingham at the minute, passing through 6,000 feet at 248 knots. Flight time this evening about 2 hours and 15 minutes as that one makes its way in from Reykjavik. And a Maersk 767 just slightly behind, a couple of minutes behind the 757. 8,600 feet on that one at 309 knots. And that West Atlantic 737, 11,500 feet, that one is passing down through. 320 knots is the speed on that one. That one should be with us in about 10 to 15 minutes. Are you alright? Oh. Yeah, don't worry about it. I've finished not very long anyway. Just waiting for those last three to come in. Got the 757 from Reykjavik, Erskine from Belfast, and in the West Atlantic.
Okay.
So it should be about 15 minutes and those will be in. And then it's just the Cincinnati one right in front of us there, 767. That one should be out in about 20, 25 minutes hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'll send you here for 9, so I'll come and join you.
Absolutely fine.
I normally do, if I'm here on Thursdays, I normally sit late. Yeah. First and get it out the right way.
Yeah. No, it's nice and light though, so it's nice and light, isn't it? It's
is, yeah.
it's good.
Nice,
Yeah, so got the A380 going over to Manchester earlier. It was just as the sun came out from behind the clouds. So got all 4 engines lit up on it. It's quite a nice.
Yeah,
It does the job.
sorry?
It does the job.
Yeah, it does.
This is live at the minute. This is live at the minute. This is live on YouTube at the minute.
All right.
Yeah. There's a lot of people watching at the minute. So look, see how many. So we've got 207 people watching at the minute.
Oh wow. Right. Have you got your own channel or something, or your own?
Yeah. The channel's called Live Flight Action.
Called
Live Flight Action.
Live Flight Action.
So we're here every Tuesday and Thursday in the airport. Yeah. Almost all weathers, apart from when it rains. But no, we've been here since probably, I think January we started.
It's January, all right, yes.
So in the very midst of the cold
Oh.
and the dark as well. So nice to get a bit of warmth.
I'm going to do the summer months.
Yeah, have a look. If you look on YouTube, search for us. We'll be on there somewhere. No problem. Volunteers joining us up here on the mound this evening. Finishing up a little meeting. Making most of the nice weather we're having at the minute.
How long till the next one coming in?
It is just on final now, so a couple of minutes. Just over East Leak at the minute. It's about 2,800 feet on that one, so it should be probably a couple of minutes.
Right.
And then you've got about 3 minutes behind that one, the Maersk 767. That one's just south of Nottingham now, and in the West Atlantic, that's just coming over the top of Nottingham. It's a bit cold, isn't it?
It is, yes. Time to go and get a coat rather than there's nothing.
So you might have time on the Maersk. I think that 757 might just beat you in.
Sorry?
757 might just beat you in.
I'll stay here for that then and go get my coat.
Wise choice. Looks like the last of that cargo is making its way on board then. Thank you very much for joining us again at East Midlands this evening. It's been great to have you with us. Second stream of the week. A little bit more densely populated in terms of traffic this evening. So owing to some of the delays earlier in the day, the traffic making its way over from the south and the east, I think, facing most of those delays. The 757 making its way in on final approach for runway 27 then. That one 1,500 feet now, 126 knots. Flight time this evening, 2 hours and 16 minutes by the time it touches down. We shall have a pan around then. Just one last look. DHRMC. So has that flight deck window closed yet? No, that one is still open. Catching the last of the breeze there through that flight deck this evening. Out, that one should be joined by its counterpart in just a few minutes time, and of course the Aerologic 777 still in the process of being unloaded this evening. So panorama. Yes, the 76 should be off to Cincinnati. I think it's about 20 to 9 that one was off. 767 that one is.
Sorry?
767 that one is.
76.
Some nice shots in the sunlight. Right, then the 757 just passing the runway threshold. That one should be touching down now. Panorama in the distance of runway 27 then. Anticipation for that one arriving in this evening. Flights are then 2 hours and 16 minutes in from Reykjavik. Registration again on that one, Golf Bravo Mike Romeo Delta. It's definitely there. So sometimes with the 757s, a bit of a glitch on the radar. This one can usually appear at the other side of Castle Donington at some points. But there we go, finally making its way in then. 757 in from Reykjavik this evening. Very shiny entrance for that one, just gleaming in the last of the sunlight this evening. So it makes very much of a difference to where we were just a few months ago when it was completely dark. Probably about 18 degrees less than it is now. Almost freezing temperatures as we're finishing the streams. Try and get set up, catch this one in the dip of the runway, sorry, taxiway there. Catch this one as it makes its way past us this evening. Decent view of the flight deck there as this one passes by us. The sound of the engines as well. Not a very common sight in England anymore, or many parts of the world. 757 still one of the workhorses of the DHL fleet. Quite a lot of those airframes being used by Jet2 and decommissioned not very long ago. DHL still maintaining their fleet of 757s. This one is 37 years old, first entering into service in 1988. As we were just saying there, it is turning extremely cold this evening. I think the wind chill is taking a lot of that heat away. Hopefully it should be getting warmer over the next few days though into the weekend. Hopefully retaining some of that heat into the starter next week for Tuesday's stream. There we go, that one making its way onto stand this evening. As that one makes its way onto stand, Maersk 767 just touching down. See if we can catch that one as it vacates off runway 27. There we go, very silently making its way into East Midlands this evening. Flight time of 41 minutes this evening then, as it makes its way over from Belfast. This one again, another older airframe, 38 years of age, entering into service in 1986. Registration on this one, Oscar Yankee Sierra Romeo Golf. Now let's see where that 737 is. That one on final approach now, just about to reach Kegworth. It's 34 years of age on that one. This one entering into service in 1991. Stay in this direction, anticipating the arrival of that 737. That one just passing the runway threshold. So pan up just a little bit. There we go. Should see that one in just a few seconds. John, thank you very much for dropping in. Good to see you this evening. Hope you're keeping well. Thank you very much for stopping by. There we go, the West Atlantic 737. Looks like I might get a close-up of this one this evening then. We don't usually see the West Atlantic this far down the runway. Usually vacates just a little further up. Still got to see that one close up this evening. And we should be making a right hand turn onto the apron then. Making its way onto the very back stand. few turns to get into that taxi line this evening. There you go, making its way onto its stand for the evening, the West Atlantic 737 in from Aberdeen this evening. Now, looks like the tug is in place on the 767. Hopefully that one will be making its way out on time this evening. We'll watch the 737 in onto stand first though. I'll pan around and have a look at the progress of that 767 this evening. Shiny 737 there. Still some edge to that aircraft. It's a regular visitor here on the streams from East Midlands. Now maybe be able just to see a bit of haze there. That is coming from the FPU of the 767. So look to the forward of the aircraft then. See the ground crew there in place. So the dispatcher all connected up and it took ready to start pushing the 767 back. Definitely a bit of speed on the West Atlantic. It's that one made its way in. It usually does quite a good job at stopping a bit further away. Often not seeing that one fully, but good opportunity to catch that one making its way past us this evening. Temperature wise then. The wind has definitely dropped down, although we're about 12 knots at the minute. Gusting ever so slightly. It's around 18 degrees. So hopefully a little bit less wind next week. A bit warmer as well.
Steve's still there.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I think the West Atlantic, that one's just in at the back now. And the DHL just there on the screen. That one's it's got the tug attached to it. So should be pushing that one in just a few minutes. So hopefully that one goes out on time. So it's usually delayed, this one. Now the 76, this one on the very end is going out to Cincinnati, and then the 777 on the stand next to it, that one's going out in about an hour after Cincinnati as well. Busy evening though. No, I start at about 5:30, so just do evening streams from East Midlands. I managed to catch it. We've seen quite a few of the 1Airs, and the Atlas Airs as well, especially with all the Formula 1 traffic in between. And get quite a few good movements. Here, started there, I think, at the Illusion in from, I think that was in from Leipzig, on one of the remote stands there, and that was good. It departed on 09. It was well, quite dark by that point, but everything was just lit up. So you got all the front of the flight deck, all the glass at the front, all lit up, so you could see right in it. That was quite good to see. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite good to see. Yeah, you don't really get an opportunity to see it anywhere else, do you, like that? So with here being smack on as well, it's quite a good shot. Oh, it's just a shame it's not a bit warmer. So hopefully this one will start moving anytime soon. Thank you to everybody who's joined us this evening again from East Midlands. Good to have you all with us. Thank you very much for joining and supporting us in the chat as well. And thank you very much for getting us past 3,000 subscribers this evening. It's very much appreciated. Hopefully many more thousands to come. Thank you for everybody's support, to all of our subscribers, new subscribers, and of course our members as well. Now it looks like nobody is in that tug at the minute. Flight deck window is closed though, so hopefully this one should be moving out any time soon. And the sun just dropping behind the tree line now. Well, that one is preparing. So look at the West Atlantic. There we go. See the crew making their way off the opposite door this evening. So the cargo door is on the opposite side of that 737. Well, that equipment is in use. It's a little bit difficult to get everything else around that exit. So the crew making use of the other side instead. There you go, you just about see that upper cargo door opening up there. Service to Cincinnati. Pinging up now. There we go. Looks like that forward gear is off of the ground. It's supported by the tug underneath it. There we go. Is indeed pushing back now. One should push straight back and then point directly towards us as it begins the start up of both of those engines this evening. We'll track this one then. Anti-collision beacon lights pinging away there. There we go, those engines already started up. a 767 pointing straight towards us this evening. Let's get all of that one in full frame if we can. Hopefully you should be able to hear those engines starting up. Turn that volume up just a little bit. So, especially out of the way, this one will be starting to commence its taxi off of the Apron now, into the taxiway and down to the start of runway 27 this evening. Start with a 767 then. This one will be the last departure on this evening's stream. Service to Cincinnati this evening, registration Golf Delta Hotel Lima Mike 767-300. This is a converted freighter. This one has had quite a varied life, starting off in 1995 with an Irish company before making its way to Vietnam Airlines in 1996. Finally leaving in 2001. 2004, it made its way into First Choice. In 2008 onto Thomson. 2014 this one was in service with Blue Panorama Airlines under an Irish registration. Looks like that one was under a lease. 2018 making its way to Kalita Air and then finally on to DHL in 2022. There we go, making its way out. Additional service to Cincinnati this evening. still very shiny in the last of the light this evening. Just take the flight deck down. This one's it's a taxi. Excuse me. Continues its taxi down to the start of runway 27. So this one will be the last departure on this evening's stream. Thank you very much again for joining us from East Midlands. If you're new to joining Live Flight Action, very well welcome to this evening. Thank you very much for joining us on this evening's stream. If you've not already done so, do consider subscribing. We're out here every Tuesday and Thursday evening from the grounds of the Aeropark. The Aeropark, of course, on summer schedule now. Open Thursday weekdays, Saturday and Sunday as well. If you want any more information on the Aeropark, have a look at the stream description below. There's a link to their website there. That'll give you all the information about their opening times, admission prices, how to find them, all of the aircraft on static display here. Making its way past the main apron there. Gradually making its way down to the start of runway 27. Oops, maybe it's too ambitious. Maersk 767 there, and the UPS 767 as well. No. That's it, I'm cut off by the tree anyway. So no, you're absolutely fine. There we go, making its way behind said tree then. To the start of runway 27. Now we'll see just how quickly this one makes it out. The ASL ATR in from Guernsey is on final approach. So look around at the progress of that West Atlantic 737. Process of starting to be offloaded. Just about to see inside of that aircraft there this evening, the flight deck door open. The aircrew just making their way on board. the ATR on final. Looks like the 767 will be holding for that one. And just after that one departs, the FedEx 737 making its way in from Belfast is about 4 minutes out now. So we'll just try and sneak that one in after the 767 has departed. I think we will make a hasty exit and go and get warm because it's turning blooming cold. So look at the 777 then, just for the time being. Now, of course, off out to Cincinnati in the F1 livery there. See the traffic's light next week into East Midlands. So I think the Formula 1 is back over at Silverstone. So may see some traffic. Some interesting traffic in and out next week. The 767 holding on 27 then. So ATR in from Guernsey this evening on final approach. That one with a flight time of about 57 minutes at 1,000 feet now. 99 knots is the speed of that one. And the FedEx 737 in from Belfast. That one is turning on to final, making that left-hand turn onto final now. Flight time on that one, about 36 minutes by the time it touches down this evening. 3,100 feet, that one is passing through now at 178 knots. So we'll see how quickly that 767 makes its way on to runway 27 after the approaching ATR. Anticipation of seeing that one into East Midlands. Fire station in the distance there. Slow coming plan around there. There we go then, that one touching down onto runway 27. Just a couple of minutes. And that one should be with us.
The DHL hold for the second one, or will it go between the two?
It might do. That FedEx is right just over Kegworth, so I think it's going to hold for the FedEx.
Yes.
So the ATR's just vacating now. So you might see it, you might not see it. It may just vacate a little further down. It may just have vacated a little further down, that one. See, it may just missed that one. Now there we go. Just taxiing off now there. In the very distance. Sneaking a view of that one. Yeah, just sneaking off. So I think the FedEx will be the next one in then. So it looks like the 7. Yes. Yeah. So the 767 just holding short of 27, waiting the arrival of that FedEx 737 in from Belfast this evening. Registration Golf November Tango Delta. This one is 22 years of age, entering in service in 2002. Just over Kegworth now, about to make its way over the M1. We shall stay in this direction. 400 feet, just passing the runway threshold. There we go, just touching down now.
Sorry?
Just touching down now. Should be here in just a few seconds. There we go then, just a few minutes over where we'd normally be streaming. Worth getting the FedEx in. Not a very common sight on these evening streams. There we go. Bit of a different livery. Of course, this one operated by West Atlantic as well. Should turn left and make his way back down towards the UPS facilities, the opposite end of the airfield. So, final departure of this evening stream. Lining up on runway 27. Use that service off to Cincinnati. Bit of a cough. Just getting stuck in my throat, I think. There we go, the UPS 767. Service off to Cincinnati then. There we go, with that one departing out of East Midlands. I think we'll call it there for this evening. So thank you very much to everybody who's joined us this evening, to all of our viewers, new and returning subscribers, and of course our members as well. Thank you very much for your support of the channel. Everybody's support in the chat as well this evening. It's been great to have you all with us. If you joined us from Tuesday's stream, thank you very much for returning again this evening and joining the channel. But we'll be out again next Tuesday and Thursday for all action here at East Midlands Airport, and of course from within the grounds of the Aeropark. So for the time being, the departing 767 ahead of us. Wish you a good evening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you have a good weekend. bye.